Hello and welcome. I am Beth Aguchi, a Programs Manager at OCLC's WebJunction program, and I'd like to kick off this introduction to our Supercharged Storytimes course. Storytimes have a strong connection to children's early learning development, and libraries are in a unique position to reach children very early in their lives and to connect with their parents and caregivers at the same time. We know you already provide great story times that are changing the lives of children and families in your community. Early literacy specialist Saroj Goding will now briefly explain some of the research that shows that story times do matter and the key elements that will supercharge your story times.
Hi, and welcome to Supercharged Storytimes. I'm happy to be with you throughout this course. It's inspiring to know what we do in Storytimes and how we do it makes a difference. I have learned so much about ways to supercharge Storytimes, and I'm eager to accompany you on your journey as you supercharge your Storytimes. The first 5 years in a child's life set the stage for learning. Although the genes that a baby is born with provide the basis for the architecture of the brain and brain connections, it's the turn-taking communication that takes place between adults and children that makes for healthy language development. Language development is intertwined with social-emotional, cognitive, and physical development as well. They all develop together. Storytimes offer us opportunities to build language in young children and to support parents and caregivers in doing so as well. So what does that really mean, supercharged Storytimes, and where did that term come from? The Views 2 study is the basis for supercharged Storytimes. The researchers at the University of Washington Information School's research project called Valuable Initiatives in Early Learning That Work Successfully Too, Views 2, conducted innovative research into Storytimes at public libraries in order to provide valid and reliable evidence for practice. It was a 4-year study addressing the value of Storytimes in libraries. So 40 librarians at 40 libraries in Washington State were selected. They divided the 40 librarians into 2 groups of 20, a control group and a treatment group. The treatment group received training on early literacy and the control group did not. The researchers observed and videotaped 6 story times of each of the 40 librarians, 3 story times before the training and 3 story times after the training of the treatment group. While looking at the videotapes, researchers noted early literacy strategies by the Storytime providers and early literacy behaviors in the children. They found that there was no statistically significant change in the control group, but the treatment group of librarians who were trained on the tools had a statistically significant increase in the amount and range of early literacy concepts that they included in their story times. The Views 2 research found that a purposeful focus on early literacy concepts in Storytimes makes a difference in the program and increased the children's early literacy behaviors. They also found that librarians can use the research-based tools developed in the study for planning and self-reflection. So, when we are intentional about including early literacy strategies in our story times with an interactive approach, we see corresponding behaviors in the children who attend. This is how we build on what we're already doing and supercharge our story times to make stronger connections with the children to build their early literacy behaviors. We also supercharge our story times by sharing early literacy information with parents and caregivers. Furthermore, with a good foundation and understanding of child development and early literacy, we can articulate that impact to our managers, our directors, and our funders. Supercharged Storytimes is the name given to the practical application of the Views 2 study. The first instance of Supercharged Storytimes was developed by OCLC's Web Junction program in 2016. The early literacy structure used in this first Web Junction training were the domains used in the Views 2 study, which were based on the Washington State Early Learning Guidelines. In this course, we will use the early literacy structure based on the early literacy components in the second edition of Every Child Ready to Read. No matter what early literacy structure you use, the important principle is to connect activities and practices to early literacy in intentional ways. Some of you may be familiar with the Every Child Ready to Read initiative and programs. These are aimed at parents and caregivers. It confirmed that their attending early literacy workshops changes and increases their early literacy behaviors with their children. The Views 2 study confirmed the connection between the Storytime providers' intentional early literacy strategies and increased early literacy behaviors in the children. Every Child Ready to Read and Supercharged Storytimes work well together. They complement each other. So now that we know a Supercharged Storytime makes a difference, what was it in the Views 2 training for Storytime providers that increased children's early literacy behaviors? Well, there are 4 key pillars involved in supercharging your Storytime practice. They are interactivity, intentionality, assessment, and community of practice. I'll just describe each one briefly here, and we'll go into more depth for each pillar in future presentations. You may find you're familiar with some of them, or with some aspects of each pillar. That's great. We hope you'll recognize what you know, as well as gain some new insights. So, interactivity addresses ways we encourage children and their adults to participate with Storytime content with what you're sharing. Interactivity takes place between you, the Storytime provider, and the children, between you and the parents and caregivers, and between the parents and caregivers and their children. Intentionality is connecting Storytime activities to early literacy skills and development, being more aware of, being more planful, and articulating those connections during planning, delivery, and reflection on your Storytimes. There are 2 subcategories to intentionality: scaffolding and early literacy tips. Scaffolding is adjusting the level of activities and interactions to children's abilities and interests, stretching them to support learning. Early literacy tips are a sentence or 2 directed at the adults to help them see how what we are doing supports children's early learning. Intentionality both informs our ability to scaffold, which is adjusting what we do to the abilities of the children, and bolsters our comfort with sharing early literacy tips with parents and caregivers. Then we come to assessment. Assessment helps you take a fresh look at your Storytimes to see what's going well, how you might improve them, and whether or not you're seeing the outcomes you planned for. Assessment can take a variety of forms, including self-reflection, sharing ideas with peers, and getting feedback from those who observed your Storytime. We also learn to take note of what early literacy behaviors we may see in the children. Observing children's early literacy behaviors gives us an additional level of assessment, outcomes. and strengthens our ability to articulate the value of our programs and to advocate for our services. And community of practice is building a community of peers, which can be library staff, whether in your own library or elsewhere, or people from partner organizations, any opportunity that allows you to share ideas and get feedback, building a learning community. Here is our story time cycle. We plan our story times, we deliver our story times, and we reflect on or assess our story times, which then leads back to planning the next ones. Interactivity, intentionality, and self-reflection are incorporated into all three parts of the cycle. Going through the process will make your story times more powerful as you enhance your early literacy skills and knowledge in children and their parents and caregivers. You'll find that you're already doing many of these things, either intuitively or through trainings that you've received over the years. Supercharged story times will knock your story times up a notch through a heightened awareness of the Views 2 research on the value of story times, and by connecting the activities we do in story time to early literacy in a more intentional, planful way. We look forward to sharing the course information with you as you build on your story times and continue the journey to make them supercharged story times. This concludes the introduction to supercharged story times. Thank you.